Hello there. Around 40 years ago, I was lucky enough to see the Bluebells play live at the Bay Hotel in Gourock, which was a venue where we lived at the time. We didn't get a lot of big successful bands down to Gourock, and Bluebells very much sat in that category at the time. It was a wonderful night. Kind of everybody was there. I was hot and sweaty. We were all teenagers having a fantastic night. I think it was a Thursday night from memory. And yet to this day, people still talk about it being one of the best gigs that we ever had. And they're right, it was fantastic. Was on 40 years. Bluebells are back touring again and played two nights in the Bungalow venue in Paisley, which managed to get tickets for the second night. And both of them were sold out, which was fantastic to see. Support band on the second night were a band called The New Leaves, who are from Northern Ireland, and Ken McCluskey's been doing a bit of support for the guys. Their album's great. Live they sound fantastic. Four-piece band, and it's kind of country folk Americana with a little bit of a kind of Irish tinge to it. And as I say, they look great, sound great, and they're well worth checking out. Really good support band. So if you get the chance, go and see them. Bluebells come on, went straight into Forevermore, which is a song that will be, over 40, 43 years old now. It very much it demonstrates how Bluebells started, songs that they were writing, how they sounded, and I guess how they saw the world at that point. It's a very famous Bluebells song, although it didn't make their debut album. Anyone who's got any awareness of their backstory, it's Forevermore's very much part of that, and there was a nice way for us to drop in to the evening and become sort of part of the celebration of what the Bluebells are. Even better when they played Daddy Was an Engineer as the next track. So that actually sounds quite similar to Forevermore. And it was interesting to hear the two of them sitting together and having that comparison with the benefit of 40 odd years in between. And it sounded all the better for it. Band were already in top form, and not only Bobby, Ken, and David are be locked tight on everything that they do, which I guess after all these years kind of makes sense. But in recent times, the kind of Mark II edition of the band also has Douglas McIntyre, Mick Slavin, and Campbell Owens, both on record and live. And as a six-piece, they just absolutely smash it. They're wonderful. And each of them brings kind of something individual to the party. So we get into the gig. I reckon they played about 18 songs. About maybe half of those would have been kind of older songs from the kind of 80s period, if you want. And they played about six from the new album, and they also played three covers. And if you kind of judge a band by the covers that they play, then the Bluebells are in a very good place at the moment, and I'll touch on that in a second. The songs they actually played out of their own. Some of the newer stuff, there was a little bit of a sort of flow to the middle part where Blue Train, Orientarian, Here's the Day Gone Tomorrow, they've all got a kind of similar feel to them, pretty laid back, sounds pretty chilled, but they've got the lyrics are quite important, and there's quite a lot of kind of pathos in what they're singing about as well, and it comes across as a sort of very mature Bluebells, and that sits quite nicely next to the kind of sing-along stuff. And as I say, the band playing is outstanding on it. They dropped in I Saw the Light, which is a Todd Rundgren cover, which they've played quite a few times when I saw them, and I think the McCluskey brothers might have played it as well when they were doing some solo stuff. And it's lovely. It's a really nice fit with what they do, and it also breaks up the run of kind of old and new Bluebells. The old stuff was great, particularly liked when they played red guitars, which is kind of as apt now as I guess it was at the time. I always hope that they're going to play the little red flag harmonica intro that they did on the demos from back in the day, but they never. But maybe one time we'll get Ken to throw that one back in. So they rattled through a whole bunch of stuff, and as we got to the business end of the gig, they left us with a triple whammy of Everybody's Somebody's Fool, I'm Falling, and of course Young at Heart to finish. So the band are rocking out by this point, and the crowd are absolutely having a ball. They finished, they were going to encore, and they did. So it was one of those on-stage encores where they couldn't get off to get back on again. But it was clear that the encore was in kind of recognition of what a great night they'd had, and they wanted to kind of continue celebrating that. Mentioned about covers, so to finish, They played For What It's Worth, which is a Buffalo Springfield cover, and they played What Was On, which is a Velvet Underground cover. And it's interesting for a band to play covers in their encores, and you wouldn't always get away with that. Normally the crowd are waiting for a couple of hits if you want to finish the night off. But because of the backstory of the Bluebells, because kind of everyone understands the sound that they have and where they've came from and their influences, it's probably quite a nice way to finish off by going back and picking up on some of the bands that I suppose in many ways helped them to become what they are today. And also the band smash it. For What It's Worth gets a sing along, which is great, and it really again it kind of and brings a crowd into the evening even more. And the final Velvet song, by that point they managed to get a couple of the young team up on the stage to dance as well, and a bit of backing vocals and some tambourine and stuff, which was lovely to see. And again, it kind of crossed those barriers that sometimes bands don't quite able to touch with a kind of new generation, and the Bluebells are very much part of the new generation as well. And it's no surprise with the kind of melodic pop element to their sound that they're able to do that. And I think kind of Bluebells now in 2024, there's a kind of like a Glasgow kind of feel to them, so you've got very much the pop of what they are, but you've got that kind of Americana country kind of look to what they do as well. I mean, you fuse the two together. It's a really nice sound, and I don't think anyone really sounds like them these days, which is something to be proud of. That was all wonderful. It was a great gig. We also found out, more importantly, that Alan's chippy is the best chippy in Paisley, with apologies to Paolo Nutini's family, which I'm sure Paolo and the guys would be devastated at. And there can't be that many bands who came through the early 80s and the core group are A, still together, B, still performing, and C, recording and releasing new music as good as what the Bluebells are doing. I understand that they're about to record again, and I would be surprised if the next record isn't as good. One of the requests I might have is that they're so good live now that I just wonder whether maybe there'd be an opportunity to maybe get a live recording and put something out there, maybe as a limited edition, record store day type idea, because they play quite small gigs and they don't play that often, and I think there's probably quite a big audience out there that would tap into that. So I'll leave them with that thought. And if you do get the chance to go and see them, go. I mean, they're not getting any younger, none of us are, but they're in top form at the moment. You wouldn't be disappointed, and if you get the chance to take your kids along, do it. They'll enjoy it. They'll enjoy it as much as you do, and they'll thank you for it somewhere down the line. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back with another gig very soon. Until then, all the best and stay safe now.